listening. We have voices from the north, voices from the south, voices from the west. And then I ask the question, who is marginalizing who? Even in this Senate, as far as I can recollect, all major appointments are subject to the confirmation of this Senate.
But all of these have been abandoned. So now you go to ministries, you will see people from one part of the country, maybe speaking one language, to the exclusion of others. So even in some states, if you go there, you will see that all the people they employ will be from one local government. That's a violation. That's a violation. So we're not just talking of big tribes and small tribes. It is a major problem that all Nigerian bureaucrats and people in authority are guilty of.
And look, the coming of Mr. President is based on justice, equity, and fairness. And it is expected that he will continue in that direction to ensure fairness.
You mean because he came from the South?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one. But he saw as a president to be fair, equitable, and justful. That is what the president saw to be. But that is not what is being reflected in the events, whether he knows it or he doesn't know. That's why I called on his attention to look at these things so that he can do something about it.
That is the failing of us Northerners. We need to look at ourselves. And now here we are. We have a leadership. We have a vice president number 2 who is from the North. We have a Speaker of the House who is number 4, who is from the North. We have an SGF who is from the North. We have the senior most military officer who is from the North. We have all the ministers of defense from the North. We have the Minister of Police from the North. We have the National Security Advisor from the North. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will look at us and say, you guys have no excuse not to bring peace to your land.
Oh, I don't think I have anything more to add than to say the figures are there. Somebody, the figures are there. You can look at the figures. I sent you one. I sent you figures. It's not that I'm just making accusations. And it's not that I'm saying, well, the president has no right to do that kind of thing. But there's a constitutional provision. Section 14.3 of the Constitution is very, very clear. When you look at it vis-a-vis the appointments made so far, and they are political appointments, if you are appointments that are professional, so to say, like you can't appoint somebody who is not a soldier to become the chief of army staff, or you can't appoint somebody that is not a police to be the IG of police. And you can't appoint such persons once they don't get to, they are not qualified. But then, when you come to look at political appointments, the Constitution is very clear. And it's because to avoid such infractions that the Constitution Section 14.3 clearly states that appointments, especially political appointments, should reflect the federal character. And that is not the case here. And all I'm saying is to call the attention of Mr. President to such infractions so that it can be corrected. Otherwise, these things can boomerang at a certain period of time. Right. It's not. And I know, as you rightly said, people look at me as somebody that is critical of the government. I have the right to do that in the first place. And in fact, that's why I'm in the National Assembly in the first place. Collectively, we are supposed to oversight the acts of Mr. President and point out some of these irregularities. Absolutely. That is what we swore to do. It's not personal. I think I have better personal relationship with most of these people that are talking about Tinubu. And I can say in the North, if you count, not up to 5 people that have close relationship with Mr. President, Ndume is one of them. But that does not stop me from speaking the truth and have obligation to do that, especially when all of us know that at the end of it all, each one of us will stand before God, and God will ask him to account for what he is responsible for. You understand? And that's why I'm saying this. And besides, we are all in this government. What will we tell our people? when you have these figures out. It's already viral, it's already in circulation. But you know what? From now, after this interview, those attack dogs or MAGA dogs will start attacking Ndume, not the message. And that's why we always get it right. It is not about Ndume or me being a senator. As a Nigerian, I have the right to voice out all these things. Not only that, I have the right to even protest. I have the right. That is guaranteed by the Constitution. But from tomorrow, those so-called Tinubu boys or people will start attacking Ndume. Oh, he's a frustrated person.
But I mean, the facts are there, though, aren't they?
Yeah, the facts are there. These are the facts. I brought it here so that you can see it. I send it to you. These are facts. And I'm not the one that created it. These are facts extracted from what is going on there.
But is it the generality of his appointments, or is it the more sort of juicier jobs?
No. It's not about juicier jobs. It's about spread. It's about equity. It's about justice. You understand? And look, the coming of Mr. President is based on justice, equity, and fairness. And it is expected that he will continue in that direction to ensure fairness.
You mean because he came from the South?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one. But he saw as a president to be fair, equitable, and justful. That is what the president saw to be. But that is not what is being reflected in the events, whether he knows it or he doesn't know. That's why I called on his attention to look at these things so that he can do something about it.
I have listened. We have voices from the north, voices from the south, voices from the west. And then I ask the question, who is marginalizing who? Even in this Senate, as far as I can recollect, all major appointments are subject to the confirmation of this Senate. Why is it that, no, most of the statutory positions, they are subject to confirmation by this Senate. And when I look at those who influence nominations, when they have their way, they nominate from family friends and nominate from their local government to go and serve federal institutions. So we must be seen as senators when we have influence to ensure that we use it bearing in mind that every part of this country need to have a feel of inclusion. I think that we are as guilty, since we have immunity to speak in the Senate. I think we too can do better whenever each and every one of us has opportunity to make nomination.
Thank you
because
very much.
I can point at some people who have been appointed on the basis of certain influences, and those appointments were not a fair reflection of the principle of federal character. Just to say that pointing fingers at others is cheap. What are we doing differently? May we have the wisdom first to practice it, and then encourage our committee to do it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll go to the prayers. Prayers should be according to the height. On a lighter note, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, I rise to support this very important motion. The rationale has been sufficiently explained. This is one of the major challenges we Nigerians are creating for ourselves. Our founding fathers of this nation, knew the nation, the peculiarities of this country. From the Willings Commission to various conferences that they held, they knew the peculiarities. They knew that we were building a new nation. And most people now forget that the nation Nigeria is a nation of nationalities, welded into one to form the largest and the most powerful black nation, which is desirable. But it is in our hands to mold this nation, to create a nation that is inclusive, a nation of all and for all, and not a few. That is why the framers of this constitution inserted this concept of federal character and went ahead, as my good brother Senator Aliero said, to also in the constitution establish the Federal Character Commission and went further to prescribe the composition of that commission to say that it shall consist of members nominated by every state. So all states are represented. And there's also a Federal Character Tribunal. But all of these have been abandoned. So now you go to ministries, you will see people from one part of the country, maybe speaking one language, to the exclusion of others. And even in the state, it's not just about tribes and so on. It says the Constitution is very clear, as Senator read it, to make sure that in the formation or composition of the government of the Federation, there shall be no preponderance, none. So even in some states, if you go there, you will see that all the people they employ will be from one local government. That's a violation. That's a violation. So we're not just talking of big tribes and small tribes. It is a major problem that all Nigerian bureaucrats and people in authority are guilty of. It's not to say, oh, we blame only one side, and one side are, everybody is culpable. But it is time for us to rededicate ourselves to the founding ideals so that we can create a new Nigeria where everybody can have a sense of belonging. So I associate myself fully, Mr. President. I don't agree that we need an ad hoc committee. We already have a committee. The Senate rules are provided for the Committee of Federal Character, ably manned, and we should trust our committees. We should give them the support. The only thing I'd like to add is that because of the seriousness of this assignment, the time frame suggested will not be enough, one. And two, the leadership has to discuss with the President of the Federal Republic. The President is in our system, is a combination of a lot of things. He's the head of state. He is the commander-in-chief, yes. But he's also the leader of the country and the chief executive of the Federation. So he should be told that this flagrant, commonplace violation has to stop, and that the National Assembly is doing something, and he should throw his weight behind it. And maybe when the report is out, he should be availed a copy, so that we can have fairness for all. If you go to NNPC, to shock you, even from those of us from oil producing people, our people are not there. You go to CBN, people are not there. You go to, Mr. President, just extend it 2 minutes for me. No, I was only joking. I'm rounding up. What I mean is, this is a very serious issue. Even in the military, where our people, Nigerians, are trained, they are volunteered to give their lives to defense of the territorial integrity of our country, fighting side by side as brothers. People will discriminate them. If a recruitment officer is one place, he will only create one type of ethnic army. We can't allow that. And like I said, it's not a time for blame game. No. It's something we all must have collective responsibility to address. So I support this motion, and like I said, the President should be informed, and that all the leadership should give full support to the work that this committee will do. 4 weeks is not enough.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Senator Umi, then Deputy Minority Leader, then Senator Ani, and Senator Babangida Hussein.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor Ume, OFR. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, this section 14.3 of the Constitution, I consider the
seriousness of this motion and the prayer that the committee on federal character, for purposes of this inquiry, should have at least one member from every state co-opted, appointed by the leadership to join this. Because for them to do a thorough job, they will have to take ministry, agency by agency, and also within every state, give us a breakdown. Give us a breakdown. After doing the state-by-state analysis in NMPC, in CBN, in the army, we would like to also see within the local governments of a state how fairly appointments and recruitments and other things have been done. And that will be only effective when we have a member of this committee, from this Senate, from that state, serving on the panel. So, Mr. President, if you permit, whereas the original prayer says that the committee on federal character shall conduct this inquiry that we have passed, authorized, my amendment is that the leadership of this Senate should co-opt members who are from states that are not already in the committee, so that it will be a 37-man committee, 36 plus 1, to conduct this inquiry within 6 months. The 14 days, the 4 weeks cannot be done. This is at least, they can take it ministry by ministry, bring a report, and we'll look at it. I so move.
And a corporal in my local government in a town or village called Isge that have been resilient. They have a plateau there, and they have a battalion nearby. The Boko Haram came, killed the captain, tried to, but for the resilience of the people and the soldiers there, we lost 2. In Goshe, a local government, it's another village, just in the last 5 days or so, also the Boko Haram attacked them from Amuda and killed 3 soldiers. In Wajirko recently, that is, there's what they call FOB, Front Operation Base, was attacked and we lost 4 soldiers. That time too, Urgo, which is not in my local government but is in Borno State, was also attacked. Severally in other areas. Even yesterday or so in Kebbi, there's a case of Lakura killing about 12 people or so. I read it somewhere. There's this killing in Plateau again. Well, this is part of insecurity. There was a killing in, that of IPOP, isolated, killings in the southeast is still going on. And I mean, you can see that Nigeria's security challenge is still there. In fact, when it goes down a little bit, it goes up again. And as I said, the main purpose of government is security, whatever you do in this country.
It must be very worrying.
So worrying.
For you from Borno State, that I mean, every time we're told that, Boko Haram and ISWAP have essentially been contained, if not neutralized. But what we're seeing are these bursts of sporadic energy from them that seems to suggest that they're nowhere near being defeated.
No, not especially in Borno or Bay State. What we call the Bay State is Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. As it is now, today, you can't go anywhere in Borno. You can't travel anywhere in Borno after 5 o'clock till morning, 8 in the morning. And it has been like that. But the only difference is that before, now, even after that 8 o'clock in the morning, you cannot travel freely without escort. But these days, there is an improvement that you can go somewhere, some routes without escort. But as I'm telling you now, some of the routes, especially from Maiduguri to Damboa, that you can you can reach there in 2 hours. You have now to at least travel 8 hours. In fact, that road that we used to take under escort, that is from Maiduguri to Damboa, then to Biu, is completely closed now because we have been losing lives there. And coupled with the fact that even the citizens are complicit, and then the security challenge is so much. We have been losing soldiers, we have been losing people.
So why do you think things have got worse there?
It's not that things have gotten worse, but they are still lingering. You can't say,
right.
Yeah, it's not that it has gotten
worse. So there's a bit of a stalemate.
Yes, that is it.
Right.
I think that's the correct word to use. There's a kind of stalemate. The Nigerian army are doing their best under the circumstances that they are operating. As I'm telling you now, I don't know about last week. I don't know about last month. Our soldiers that sacrificed their life, some of them are yet to be even paid the 70,000 minimum wage. And their daily ration up to now, I don't know about last week because I am interested. I'm a Nigerian, I'm a senator. It's 1,500. You can imagine what 1,500 can do to somebody that you just post from Port Harcourt sometimes. I met a young man from Bayelsa, posted to Bama, and he's been paid 50,000 then when I met him. 50,000.
We have had a northern president from Katsina for 8 years. Before he came, we did not have a single IDP. All our local governments were safe. Now Katsina State, 22 out of 34 local governments. That is 65% of Katsina. It's under siege. Borno State is more secure and safer than Katsina. That we had a president who is from there. That is a failing of us northerners. We need to look at ourselves. And now here we are. We have a leadership, we have a vice president number 2 who is from the north. We have a speaker of the house who is number 4 who is from the north. We have an SGF who is from the north. We have the senior most military officer who is from the north. We have all the ministers of defense from the north. We have the minister of police from the north. We have the national security advisor from the north. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will look at us and say, you guys have no excuse not to bring peace to your land. So it is up to us to look at ourselves in the mirror, we northerners, especially those in government, and lock the door and say, people, how do we take care of these problems? President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the southwest cannot come and bring peace to us. It is us that must bring peace to ourselves. And it is not the military that will bring peace. I've said it again and again, banditry can never be won on the battlefield. We are just putting the military to clean up after this mess. They're everywhere. So northern leadership, all of us, must come in, lock the door and sit down and see how we can bring peace to our land. 15 years of Boko Haram, 9 years of banditry. Are we going to continue this forever? I have friends in the United States calling me and say, did you see the primary school where these kids were taken? Blown roof, nothing there. Well, this is the leadership of the North that fuels all of this. And we're looking elsewhere, we're blaming somebody else. No. Leaders of the North, those in government and out of government, it's time for us to look ourselves in the face and say, we have failed our people, we need to do better. The military cannot bring peace to ourselves. None. We must all get involved and stop this nonsense, this Boko Haram, this banditry.